Just had some meathead walk by and go, it's not real there. Which is why the UK screwed up. Cuckville. That's a wild looking tortoise, man. It's a tortoise, it's not a turtle.
The shell, see?
Not a fan. Don't care if it bothers you. People suck. That is a cool looking tortoise. 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 Very cool.
Because oftentimes those give people the impression that they are related to zebras. But don't let those stripes fool you. The okapi is actually the only known living relative of the giraffe. And we know that because they have very similar skull structures. They both have very long prehensile tongues. And prehensile is just a very fancy scientific word that means finger-like.
Chicks dig it.
So they can use their tongues as an appendage to grasp and pull leaves off the trees. Quiet right there on the left. We'll keep our eyes peeled in that area though. Some of the animals might still be back in the bushes, like if you're hiding from the rain. So let's see. I think there are some antelopes up ahead of us here. I see them kind of over in the corner there. So here on your left, the lighter gray antelopes are the greater kudu, and if you look closely, you might see some copper orangey colored antelopes in there as well, and those ones are the bongos. And this is a female greater kudu. Only the males of the species have horns, so they're pretty easy to tell apart. And the faint white stripes on their back are going to help them to camouflage by mimicking the sunlight coming in through the trees. And you can't really see the bongo, she's pretty hidden over there, but both male and female bongos have horns, but males go to be a little bit larger and a little bit more of a darker brown color. The females stay pretty orange. But with that, we're now entering the Saki River Valley. And in this region of the forest, we're going to have the chance to find some aquatic animals, but maybe even a few more land animals that also spend nearly all of their time in and around the water. And down on your right-hand side, there is a pod of pink-backed pelicans. You might also see some hippos all the way in the corner over there. They're almost completely submerged in the water. I just need everyone to make sure you're staying seated for me, please. Make sure everybody's sitting down. My friends, make sure you're sitting down, please. The pink-backed pelicans get the pink coloration in their name.
That's your Kamala Harris voter.
During their mating season, kind of like they're blushing. Males are about a 7 to 9 foot wingspan. And
Rules for thee, not for me.
Canopy going across your head. For closer reference as to just how large that is. Looks like there might be some more hippos coming up here on the left. Now, the hippos are an animal that do spend the majority of their life in the water. They're able to hold their breath for several minutes before they come up for air, and a lot of times, so that makes them pretty difficult to see, like we just experienced.
Just like Rosie O'Donnell.
Despite spending most of their time in the water, typically you won't ever see hippos swimming. They much prefer to walk or run along the bottoms of the rivers, and that is because they are pretty dense, for lack of a better word. They weigh upwards
Just
of about
like Rosie O'Donnell.
500 pounds, so it definitely uses a lot less energy to just sink down to the bottom and walk rather than try to swim. Alright guys, I'm just going to ask one more time that everybody stays seated for me. You have to stay seated at all times, please. Thank you.
And that's why Europe is a mess.
A group of hippos is called a bloat. And we're going to proceed over this bridge and go poly-poly, because down below us there you might see a Nile crocodile right along the edge of the water there. Now, the Nile crocodiles are the largest crocodilian species in Africa. They can grow to be about 16 feet long, weighing about 500 pounds. So they're about as long as a giraffe is tall. It's pretty cool to think about. stay very, very still and don't really move around a lot. And I
Made of
promise you at some
concrete.
point today you've already seen a baobab tree, but you probably called it the Tree of Life. That is a pretty popular nickname it was given, and due to its incredible ability to hold thousands of gallons of water, and it is that remaining leafless for about 9 months of the year. So instead of supporting all that leaf life, it's going to store that extra water in its trunk, giving it a very spongy interior and making it a great water source for all the animals out here on the savannah to tap into, especially during their frequent drought periods. Alrighty, looks like there are a couple animals hanging out here already with us. On your right hand side is an Ankole cattle, and you're probably going to see those horns on their head quite easily from over here. They can grow to be about 6 feet long from tip to tip. And while that might seem kind of heavy to have to lug around on your head all day, their horns are hollow on the inside. They have a honeycomb-like structure, and that is going to aid in blood circulation and help them to cool off. So the horns are very lightweight and very beneficial for them. And on your left-hand side, if you look towards this den, you're going to see a pack of African painted dogs. You're looking for golden fur with black and white spots. And each one of them has their own unique set of spots, which is how they identify each other out in the wild, even over long distances. And I'm sure we can all agree that they are very, very cute, but please don't underestimate them because they are also Africa's most successful hunters. And hunting as a pack, they'll take turns chasing down their prey until their prey is exhausted.
And then what?
Now straight back over here on your left-hand side, that is a sable antelope. There's a couple of them back there. They're the official emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, and they were chosen for that because they are known to be fighters out in the wild. Unlike a lot of other antelope species that are a lot more skittish when it comes to predators, the sables are known to hold their ground and fight back using the razor-sharp horns on their head as their main defense mechanism. And we've got some animals you might recognize here on your left-hand side. Yeah, these are the wildebeest. They're pretty reliant on strength in numbers when it comes to defending themselves from predators. So out in the wild, their herd sizes usually range from 10 to over 1,000 individuals. And each year they make a great migration during which they will travel anywhere from about 500 to 1,000 miles, usually just in search of a better food or water source. But during that migration, they'll travel in groups as large as hundreds of thousands of wildebeest. They are the second most densely populated mammals on the planet, second only to humans. They can pick her out from her. Now, walking towards us here on your right-hand side is the actual newest member of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Here's little baby Maasai giraffe. This little guy is only a few months old.
Super duper cute.
But he's not very little. Giraffes are about 6 feet tall at birth, and they are usually up and walking around within the first hour of life. That's going to help them to defend themselves from predators early on, and it also ensures that they're able to keep up with the group. And a group of giraffes is called a tower. It's like some of the adults are down here. They're going to grow to about 16 to 18 feet tall, making them the tallest land animals in the world. And giraffes take one thing very seriously, and that is food. They do eat for about 16 to 20 hours a day. Along with travel time after that, they only have about 30 minutes left for sleep, which they are known to split up into 2 to 5 minute intervals throughout the day. They also typically sleep standing up and usually with their eyes open because that is the least vulnerable position for them. All right, I'll get over. Alrighty, now as we're pulling right through here, I'll let you guys know that we are entering elephant territory. So definitely start looking out for some of them. but they're still some of my favorite animals, and the rhinos out here are the southern white rhinos, and there's another species in Africa, the northern white rhinos, that have actually been labeled as functionally extinct. There's only 2 of them left, and it's a mom and a daughter, so it's 2 females. It's a pretty sad story, but it did open the window for a lot of conservation to happen for rhinos all around the world. They started a lot of breeding programs and actually experienced a lot of success. So much so that the southern white rhinos were recently taken off the critically endangered species list. They are now labeled as near threatened, and they are the most stable of all rhino species. So very happy news there. So there used to be 3 young ones that lived here, but 2 of the younger males that we had actually went to a different AZA facility to kind of carry on that breeding program, which is very, very exciting. All right, see some movement now. Goodness, thank you guys so much for being patient. I know you don't have much of a choice, but I appreciate it. There's the male. They're a little bit on the younger side, so his mane might look just a little bit patchy. But as he gets older, that will thicken and darken. And as an adult male lion, their mane can add about 40 pounds to their body weight. It's like the other females over in that area too. Word vite, which means wide and not white, and originally that was in reference to the shapes of their mouths, which are more of a square and wide shape, and that helps them to graze out here in the savannah.
Oh, nice, got that.
You might also notice them rotating their ears inwards and outwards a lot. That helps them to pinpoint where every single sound is coming from. Like we mentioned before, they have pretty poor eyesight, so they rely very heavily on their hearing and a keen sense of smell. But to get over this amazing view of the lions up here, got both the females and the male up here.
Getting ready to jump.
That's a pretty great view of her.
Yeah.
And here are the rest of our rhino friends. So you can see how this might be incredibly difficult to navigate. Again, with their sensitive hearing in mind, we do need to stay very, very, very quiet as we're passing by because they're extremely close to the road and we don't want to spook them. Guys, please don't make noises out there. I'm sure you already noticed some of the ostriches over here on your right-hand side. A little bit of a better look at them. On your left-hand side, this here is a water buck. Another antelope species, and they get their name because they can actually drink several gallons of water a day. It's a lot for an antelope. They also produce an oil on their fur that pretty much makes their fur waterproof. And there's a big cluster of ostrich eggs here on your right-hand side. Another great sign that those were females. And those are the largest bird eggs, which makes sense because the ostrich is the largest flightless bird species. But you could actually stand or step on top of one of those eggs without cracking them. They're going to weigh in at about 3 pounds each, and that is equivalent to about 2 dozen chicken eggs. Hopefully for you guys. They make great natural lawnmowers for the warden, and they also produce a lot of milk the warden can use to make cheese products, and then they can sell goat milk and goat cheese in their local village, and it is a lot more environmentally friendly to get the products from them rather than cows. But they're also incredibly playful animals. They love to run, jump, climb, and headbutt. And the most dominant male of their group is normally determined by which one is the most playful.
Oh, hebben we de klasse? Net niet helemaal af. Ja.
That's a funky looking bird out there.
Almost time to go.
Oh, running clothes.
I hear you, buddy. Bob Iger does suck.
They're really not like TV or movies make them seem like they're not aggressive. Just for the animal safety,
But they could
like
rip you
our
in
keepers
too.
are not in there at the same time as they are, and that goes for most of our animals. But yeah, they're very, very nice animals.
Ooh, there's a little play in the bridge here. I'm going over. I'm gonna walk up this stream. It's nice. Cool, huh? I tell you, who doesn't love a ravine, man? You know? don't know about you, but I see something like that, I just want to go and walk up it and get around that corner. That would be not knowing that there's gorillas around there. Pretty cool.
Who also mate for life. So the two over there, they are a pair. They're going to be together for the rest of their lives. On your right, with those okapis, many will think they are related to a zebra. However, they're actually related to a giraffe. So two ways we can tell that. They have very similar skull structures and very similar tongues. Now they do have what is called a prehensile tongue, so that does just mean it is finger-like. That helps them grab onto exactly the leaf that they want. As we continue on, we'll see if we can find any more animals out here. Typically, they're going to hang out a little bit closer to the end of the forest. They are the Hartmann's Mountain Zebras. Now, they're pretty much never out here this late at night, so you should probably consider yourself pretty lucky. We are going to loop around. You're going to see every other giraffe. They're all going to be on your left-hand side. They're all going to be huddled up back there. That's where their barn door is. They know it's about to open, which is why they're all waiting right there. With the giraffes, they do use that incredible height to reach all the way to the tops of the trees to get whatever leaves they may want, and they have some pretty good eyesight, so it does help them see predators coming from great distances away. This animal right here on your left with the really big horns, that is that Ankole cattle. They are one of the only domesticated species out here on the reserve. You might think their horns are incredibly heavy, however they're actually really light as the inside is hollow. As we continue on, you're going to see a little bit closer view of the zebras on your right hand side. As we are passing by the zebras, you're going to see those baobab trees again on your left and your right. The baobab trees do get that second nickname, the tree of life, because they can store lots of water. So we can think of them as nature's water. As we are passing by the cheetahs, if you've been on the safari before, then you do know what's coming up next. As you can see though, all three lions are the same color, so they do look the exact same. The way we tell that male apart is by his mane. If he happens to pick his head up, which I don't think is very likely, but you're going to see his mane is really small. Now that's just because he is really young, so he is still working on growing his mane in. Now because he's really young, he's also still working on learning how to roar. Right now his roar is pretty quiet, but with the older he gets, the louder it's going to get, and that roar is going to be pretty cool to hear. An adult lion's roar can be heard up to about 5 miles away. As you can see though, these lions are sleeping. They do spend pretty much their whole day sleeping, becoming most active right at dusk and dawn, which is why at times it gets very difficult to find these lions out here. Almost always you're gonna see them hiding out here. Now that's mostly just because it gets a little too hot at the top of the rocks. We can see that last female lion all the way at the top a little bit better now. Now on your left hand side, this is typically where the warthogs hang out. I do believe they've already gone to bed, so you're not going to see them, but you can see where they hang out during the day. You're going to see those giant holes out there. Now those are the burrows. That is because the warthogs are one of the largest burrowing species. They can be seen backing into the burrows, leaving their razor sharp tusks out. That way they are not being left vulnerable. All heading closer to us and looking out this way. This is where they go to bed. So as you can see, they're not very happy that they're still out here. They're waiting to go to bed. But those goats, they can be seen headbutting each other. That is just another form of communication for them.